Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I thought I would try to do just a quick video podcast today, inshallah. It's kind of overcast and looks like it might rain, so try to do just a few minutes here. I just started reading and doing some reviewing on Dr. Sherman Jackson's new book, Sufism for Non-Sufis, ? Ibn Ata'Allah As-Secondary's Taj al-Arus, which is sort of a treatise on spiritual or personal rectitude, piety, devotion, that sort of thing. I actually had the opportunity to read or study a bit of the Hikam of Ibn Ata'Allah, another famous work. It's more a collection of aphorisms. This one, I think, a little bit more in depth. And what I found more interesting about this piece is challenging, I think, the notion. I know a lot of people object to Sufism, and just for the record, I am not a Sufi. I am not in any tariqah. I have not taken bay'ah in any tariqah. I am Maliki by fiqh, but not a Sufi. And which I found interesting, one of the little notes that he put in here is that, while today it seems to be a common connection between those of Maliki fiqh and Tasawwuf or Sufism, that initially a number of the Maliki fuqaha were not so hot, and he gives a testimony that the Almoravid ruler Yusuf ibn Tishafin, that he actually burned some copies of Imam al-Ghazali's Ihya Ulumuddin in public as a protest against Sufism. But, all that being aside, even though I'm not a Sufi, I have always found Sufism to be not only just fascinating or interesting, but to be quite honest, some of the insights of Sufism I have always found to be certainly worthwhile, and that while I have never been inclined to partake in tariqah because I just personally, some of the methodologies or practices of some Sufis just hasn't really been something I wanted to partake in. Nonetheless, I do find many of the things that the Sufis talk about and write about to be of value, and I know that Dr. Jackson himself has said, I'm not a Sufi, so he's also writing this book from the perspective of a person that is, not a Sufi and not in a tariqah. So the Sufism for Non-Sufis is the title alone is worth some thought, and I think it will really prove to be very insightful into also kind of portraying Sufism to be much more complicated than what it is thought of, versus just a bunch of people stabbing themselves or whirling dervishes or something. And in fact, one of the little anecdotes that he relates here is from Ibn Ata'Allah, who relates upon the founder of his school, the Ash-Shadhiliyya. He says that Imam Ash-Shadhili actually used to dress very well, and that despite the idea of the faqir being somebody that would always dress as a poor beggar, Imam Ash-Shadhili was actually known to dress very well. And in this anecdote, Ibn Ata'Allah relates, he said, a mendicant once entered upon Sheikh Abul Hassan wearing a fur garment. When the Sheikh finished his lesson, the man approached him, reached out, and sampled his clothing and said, "O Master, God is not worshipped in clothing like the ones you are wearing." The Sheikh reaches out and sampled the man's clothing, and noticing how coarse they were, said, "God is not worshipped in the clothing like the ones you are wearing. My clothing says that I am not in need of the people, so they do not have to give me anything. Your clothing says, though, that you are in need of people, so they should, and that they should have to give you something." So, that's kind of a funny exchange that, again, sort of dispelling and complicating the idea of, what is Sufism, whether you agree with it or not. I certainly look forward to reading through the rest of the book. Inshallah, I will be updating any further notes and reviews, and I'll be putting that inshallah on the website markmanley.com on the summer 2000 reading list. I'll put up any other any other notes or things that I found interesting, inshallah. So again, from Oxford University Press, Sufism for Non-Sufis, from Dr. Sherman Abdul Hakim Jackson, Ibn Allah Secondaries, and Taj al-Arus. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.